So our interview is done. Now, I asked the question based on what resume I have, right? And the kind of experience the candidate has. I did not ask much about the automation part because I was not able to see anything related to automation, particularly in the project, right? So one of the feedback is for the candidate is you should mention about the project, that is fine, but you should mention about your roles and responsibility there, what you did on that project, right? And also you should mention what kind of testing you have done, right? If so, if you have done automation, so you should mention what kind of test automation framework you have used, right? So this resume needs some other details here. So for example, reference you have put, but there is no detail here. So it's not like that you don't have reference, so you should keep it blank. You should delete the entire card itself, right? Or this detail if you don't want to put any detail. Okay. Rest of the things are fine. We'll talk about other things later on. Um, so let's check about the feedback part. Um, so generally, company asks this question: introduce yourself. Why they do this thing? Let's understand this, right? They have your resume with them, but and they know about you through your resume, but still they ask introduce yourself. The reason is they want to settle down, you know, the interview tone, right? And they want to check how you are talking, your communication skill, whether you can explain the things in a simple way or not about yourself, right? So that's why they ask you. So whenever somebody asks about introduce yourself, you can introduce um, your name basically, and where you are working as of now, working, right? And then you should explain about your experience, right? And that's it. That's it. Like your name, where you're working, and what kind of experience you have. So when we say experience, it's not just I have 2 years of experience. No, it's not enough, right? So basically, you should say, let me give you one example. If somebody will ask me, introduce yourself. So probably I'll say, um, hi, um, I am Nitesh Kumar Jain, and I'm working with ABC company that works in e-commerce domain. I'm working in my current organization from last 2 years, and my total experience is now 15 years. And I have worked on different companies, so you can name some companies, right? And then I have good experience on database testing. I have good experience on API testing, and I enjoy and I like doing automation as well. So in my current project, I am doing automation as well. That's it about introduce yourself. If the interviewer want to ask something else about you, they will ask you. Some cross question will happen. Okay. So generally keep it 4 to 5 lines, right? Simple. Fine. Day activity. So when somebody is asking, tell me about your day-to-day activity. So talk about more on testing activity part, because the role is for the test engineer or the QA engineer, right? So I'm not giving any ideal answer here as of now. You have to understand that you have to put it in a proper way, which will, inform the interviewer about what you do on your day-to-day activity, and be very honest about it. Okay. Whatever you do, you have to be very honest what you do actually, right? Team structure. How is your team structure? So this is important question, because you should know about your team structure, right? And it's not enough just to say there are 5 developers, three QA, right? So you should explain about how this team structure is. So when you say five developers, three QA, you should say that we work together in the same location, right? Something like that. Or in the dev, if you want to explain that there is a dev lead, there is a architect, or there is a front end designer, or if there is back end developer, right? You should explain that, right? You, if you have a particular specialized automation engineer, you should mention that, okay, we all do the manual and automation. Or you can say, if if you have, let's say, one automation specialist and two test engineers who work more on the manual side, right? So this is like team structure you have to mention properly. Release cycle. So why this question comes? Because the interviewer want to know that whether you understand the whole release part or not. So you should know about your release cycle. Release cycle means what is the frequency of deployment into the production. It's not about intermediate build which you get. Release cycle means when, how often, what is your frequency of deploying your code to the production. Okay, that is called release cycle. Okay, now interviewer can ask any random question in between, right? So what is performance testing? You did not answer well, right, as a candidate here. Basically, you should define it properly. What is performance testing? We cannot say performance testing means checking the performance of the system. Obviously, that is for the checking the performance, but how it is different from other kind of testing? How do we perform it? Now your question may be, I have not done performance testing, so how I can answer it, right? So you can say that interviewer is asking me bad questions. Why they are asking me? The profile is not related to performance testing. The profile or the job description we got is for manual functional tester. Why they are asking me about performance testing? The reason is they can ask you anything, and you cannot blame them that they are asking some random question. They want to know whether you understand the end to end, testing, whether you understand that there are other kind of testing as well, right? So so define it properly. And if you don't know about it, do it. Don't just learn it theoretically about what is performance testing just for the sake of answering in the interview. Learn about performance testing. It's not difficult. Learn JMeter or load runner. At least basic knowledge all the test engineers should have. Okay. Okay. Uh, when we do perform regression testing, so we didn't get the right answer. So when we do perform regression testing, um, I'm waiting for if anybody want to answer it into the chat window. When do you know about smoke sanity testing? So you didn't answer it. So we should know about, as a test engineer, we should know all type of testing basically. I'm not putting any answer here. The thing is, I'm just giving a feedback that we should be ready about it. These things, okay? When you log a defect and how you log the defect, this question is important because the interviewer want to know that whether you understand the importance, of defect logging, whether you are serious about it or not, right? That's why they ask this question. Fine. So somebody has answered, when a new feature or functionality is added to application, it should not have any side effect on the other functionality. Is called regression testing. Perfect. When a bug affects the other functionality, then we perform regression testing. No, no, no. it is affecting, you don't know whether it is affecting or not. We want to make sure that it should not affect the existing functionality. That's why we do regression testing. Okay. So I'm saying it again. Regression testing we perform to check that existing other functionality should not get harmed, should not be affected by the new changes done by the development team, or because of a bug fix, the other things should not get impacted. That's why we do regression check. Okay. Um, and about smoke testing, the thing is, whenever you get a new build, right, you want to check whether the basic functionality is working fine or not. The overall functionality is working fine or not, right? So there will be just 10 to 20 test cases, which we will do quickly. So smoke testing, it's not like the big kind of testing. It's just max 30 minutes. You have to max, I'm saying. Within 30 minutes, you have to say that, okay, the smoke testing is done, and now let's go ahead with the other functional check and regression check. It's like this. Okay, so read about it. I'm not giving the answer as of now. The thing is, read about it, understand it, and don't just mug this thing. Generally, what we do is we search in the Google 50 interview questions for the QA or something, right? And we try to mug it. Instead, what we should do is we should simply talk about it, discuss those things with your friends, your colleagues, your team leader, whenever you get a chance, right? Discuss about those interview questions as well. When you log a defect, how you log the defect. Okay, so when we log the defect, whenever there is a deviation from the expected behavior, we log a defect. How you log the defect means we want to know that what are the fields you mention when you log the defect. So it will come like this is like you have to mention in detail what are the fields you will have: defect ID, the description, in what environment you got the defect, what was the release or the build number where you get the defect, right? A screenshot if you want to mention, steps to reproduce, if you want to mention the priority of the defect, right? If you want to mention any other thing about the defect, so you have to explain what will be the field for putting a defect. Explain the defect life cycle. So basically, I wanted to know. I asked many times that what will happen after this? What will happen after this? So you have to explain whenever somebody is asking about how you log the defect or the defect life cycle. You have to mention everything right from getting a defect. You log a defect from that point to when you get a fix and you retest it, right? And you close the defect. So closing the defect till you, from the time you open a defect and till the point when you close that defect, you have to explain everything, what happens with that defect. Okay. Now the thing is, you answer based on your experience, right? It may happen that you answer based on what is happening at your company. But let's understand, not all companies are following good practices about defect logging. You should understand what should be the ideal process. Okay. You have to understand what will be the good practice of defect logging. So what I'm saying is, generally we answer based on what is happening in our company, right? As of now. And we think that this is called defect life cycle, right? Or this is the way somebody should talk, right? With the leader or architect will see this thing. It's not like that. We have to understand logically how it happens, right? So you have to put both the perspective when you're answering it. You can say this is happening in my organization as of now, but this can be the other process, the good practices, if we want to follow for the defect part. Okay, so for example, when you are getting a defect, right? It's not required all the time to, go through your team lead, right? It may happen with some of the companies, right? But that's not, we cannot generalize it that we have to go to your test lead, right? It's not like that. You can directly talk with your developer that this is the defect I'm logging, right? It's like this. Fine. What you will do if some defect is coming again and again? So this is again a good question. So why we ask this question? Because we want to know what is your escalation practice, whether you are good in communicating the defect in the right way or not. See, the question was what you will do if the same defect is coming again and again. Means developer is fixing it, but again it is coming. Again they are fixing it, again it's coming. So you cannot say that I will again talk with my team lead. I will again put it with the same process. The thing is, if you are getting these situations, mean there is something wrong. Either something wrong with what you are doing when you are testing it, or maybe something wrong is happening from the dev practice. Right? Both ways, anything can happen. So basically, you have to check. So if somebody will ask me, what you will do if same defect is coming again and again? So probably I will answer like, if the defect is coming, the same defect is coming again and again, I will check my steps and the environment where I am testing. I'll check the build also. Maybe there is a problem at our end in the testing that we are testing the old build. We are not taking the new build and deploying it into QA environment. There may be something like this. Or if this defect is coming again and again, I will escalate this to my manager, QA lead or QA manager, because we have invested a lot of time into this defect and we have to do a lot of other work also. If this defect will come again and again, that means um, either there is a uh, gap between what developers are understanding about this defect. So there is a gap. So it will be good if we will have a common meeting about understanding this defect and how we are going to resolve it. Right. So that will be, I think, will be a good answer if somebody will ask you what you will do when the defect is coming again and again. Okay. What is API testing? So I didn't get the right answer. The thing is, application programming interface, everyone knows it, but the interviewer want to know how, what what you know about the API testing, when we do it, right? What is the importance of it, right? How we perform it, right? So whatever you know, you should explain about that thing. Now the question is, you don't have experience into this, so how to answer it, right? So my suggestion is do it, right? Learn it. So when you're going for the job, right, they can ask you anything, right? And believe me, this is nothing. Learning about API testing is not like, you should not take it like the burden that why I should learn this. It's very simple. Learn it. In within 5 to 6 days, you will be able to understand the basic thing about why we do API testing and how to perform it. You may not master it within 5 days, but at least you will be able to understand it, right? Device testing, yes. So you did a particular kind of device testing, but again, you should explain in a very simple way that, okay. So you explained it good, like some life care system, and you want to do that thing. So that was good. That was good. But basically, you should talk about what exactly you check. So plasma thing is fine, but what exactly is the testing point? So when you are talking about your own work, you should explain about what exactly you test. Just give a simple example. Okay. Now, Python programming is different from other languages, so that answer was not good. You should prepare it well, and moreover, again I'm saying this is not something which we should mug about this thing. If you have worked on 2 3 different programming language, you will automatically get to know what is the difference. See, Python is easy. This is very subjective kind of answer, right? For some people it may be easy, for some people it may be difficult, right? So we cannot say Python is easier than other programming language, right? Moreover, it's not true, right? So it's different for different people. You should understand what is the difference. So I'm not giving any answer here. What I'm saying is prepare it. This kind of question can come to anybody, even for the manual test engineers, right? So if you're thinking that I'm a manual test engineer, I do manual part, why they're asking this? They want to know whether you are aware, aware about other things or not, right? Linux version, why we ask this thing? Because you mentioned in your resume. So you should know about what is happening as of now with the Linux version. Create table. So it's a very basic question. An interviewer asks with very basic thing about creating tables, some queries and all, right? So first of all, you did not hear the question completely, right? So we asked about there are roll number, there is a standard, there is phone number, and one more thing, right? So you have to answer it well, prepare it, right? Like in your notepad and then answer it, right? So this is fine. Different database has different kind of syntax. So I believe as of now, this is fine. But again, you have not mentioned here like primary key, right? So don't forget to do this thing because, small things, but it will matter, right? When somebody is saying creating the table, they expect you to put constraint also, okay? Um, this is fine. Their roll number is greater than 50. Retrospection meeting, right? So we asked you like whether you follow agile practice. Basically, you follow it, but you didn't answer it well. Okay. Do you have any question for me? So this kind of question interviewer asks you at the end, so that they will get to know that whether you are interested in the company or not, whether you want to know more about this role and opportunity or not, right? So you should ask some questions about this opportunity, what kind of candidate they want, what kind of work it is, right? Root cause analysis. So this is a random question I asked that what is the RCA? Okay, so RCA is a field for a defect, so once the defect is logged, the team or the developer and QA both should work on understanding about what was the root cause, why this defect came, right? So there is a field which will be mentioned in the tool that what was the root cause for that defect. Now we will talk about some other things which some candidate has asked here in the third part.